welcome to another edition of Thursday Thoughts with Pastor Pat. I am Pastor Pat, the pastor of St. John's United Church of Christ in Weldon, Spring, Missouri, and this is my weekly video blog on what I'm thinking on Thursday as we're approaching Sunday morning worship. This coming Sunday is August 17th. It is the 10th Sunday after Pentecost. The gospel reading for the day is Luke 12, verses 49 through 56. This is not one of my favorite passages. One of the most well-known verses from this passage is verse 51. These are the words of Jesus. Do you think I came to bring peace on earth? No, I tell you, but division. Now, I'm not going to lie. I don't love preaching on this passage. I've done it a couple times before. I struggle with it because it just doesn't sound like the things Jesus would say, the Jesus that we would know, the Jesus that we associate with the Prince of Peace. And here we hear about division. And not only division, but this is something that Jesus brings. So my first inclination was, I'm going to preach on something else. But I learned a long time ago, this is some good advice from a seminary professor, my preaching professor, who said, if the text makes you feel a little uncomfortable, take that as a little message from God that you probably need to preach on it. And I also think it's a benefit of preaching through the lectionary passages as well, too. Some pastors I know don't like preaching the lectionary because it feels like it restricts the spirit and things like that. However, I believe preaching the lectionary forces me to preach on passages that are uncomfortable. And then I'm not just preaching on the passages I like. But I preach on the whole of Scripture instead of just picking and choosing the ones I like. So every once in a while, a passage comes across the lectionary that I go, oh, great. So this is essentially what I'm thinking of because not only does Jesus say this, but Jesus talks about I've come to set father against son, mother against daughter, mother-in-law against daughter-in-law. And so I have been thinking a lot about family conflict. And it's always been curious to me as to why we tend to fight more with family than we do with friends. And I think a lot of it has to do with our security in those familial relationships. Fighting with our friends can always leave. And I think that makes us hesitant to fight with them because we want to make sure we keep them. But our family, like it or not, you're my dad. Like it or not, you're my mom. And so we have a little more security that they're going to leave. And so we're a little bit more free to share what we have or to share our feelings that we have, including those negative feelings. But I was a little interested in finding out what are some of the most prominent causes of family conflict. And as I researched this and looking online, I came up with 5 that kept repeating themselves. And I'm in no particular order, with the exception of this first one, because the first one seems to be money. Money being the biggest cause of family conflict. I saw this on almost every site I visited and in every book that I have on my shelf that talked about family conflict. Money kept coming up over and over and over again. And 2 of the most prominent places is, well, with money. Inheritance, big source of family conflict, and also loans. And I'm talking about like borrowing money from a family member or loaning money to a family member can be a great source of conflict. So I usually tell family people to avoid it if possible, being in debt. Now, if you get a gift of money, that's one thing, but actually borrowing money with the intent of paying it back, that can cause a lot of conflict. Another thing that causes a lot of conflict, and we joke about it all the time since the history of in-laws. We've joked about in-law relationships, but in-laws are a source of family conflict. Especially it seems like that decision on where to spend Christmas. can cause a lot of conflict with if you choose to spend Christmas with this set of in-laws and not those. It can cause conflict. In-laws, aging parents can be another source of family conflict, especially amongst siblings, of course. Do we put them in the nursing home? Do we not put them in the nursing home? If we don't put them in the nursing home, who's going to take care of them? And it seems like it's never fully even as far as who does most of the taking care of and who doesn't. Big source of family conflict. Step-parent, step-child conflict is very prominent. I've been very lucky. I have a stepson who's just a dream stepson. I couldn't ask for a better stepson. He's been great. I hope he feels the same about me, but that can be a source of rivalry when it comes to like disciplining or rivalry between a step sibling and a stepchild and like a biological child can cause some rivalry as well too. And divorced parents also obviously can be a great source of family conflict as well. Custody, discipline, what happens at one home, what happens at the other. Sometimes divorced parents can get caught up in competition, and that can create a lot of conflict. So you may be asking, how do we resolve and fix or avoid all of these conflicts? And what did Jesus mean when he said he came to bring division and not peace? The answer to that will happen on Sunday morning. And so you'll just have to come Sunday morning to find out. 10 a.m. Sunday morning, you can worship in person or you can join us for worship right here on Facebook Live. And comment below, like this video, comment below, where do you see division in the world? I won't have you get into your family conflicts because I know that can be very personal. And so don't comment. You don't have to comment below with that. But where in the world do you see conflict? And I don't think you have to look too hard, unfortunately. But where do you see division in the world? I love making these videos. I appreciate the positive feedback I get on these. As long as you're enjoying them and clicking on them and playing them, I'll keep them coming. But take care. We'll hope to see you Sunday morning. God bless. Bye-bye.